Got back actually yesterday. Cousin Bishop, Dr. William Brown, had a great time down there. Had the opportunity to see many faces that of people that I met through social media. Share a quick thought with you because to your platforms, doing these teachings online. But it's another thing when you can actually come together and see the expressions, hear the expressions, and you know uh, see the Most High, for them to understand the importance of coming together. There's some that will make the or use these expressions of, well, we don't have to go to church to learn who Christ is or learn who God is. It doesn't take all of that. Some of you guys said choppy. Let me see something here. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can adjust this. Bear with me 1 second, family. I may have to do this live over. All right, family. How does it look now? Does it look better? I just made some adjustments on my phone. How does that look? If the visuals look better, type one. If it doesn't, type two. All right. All right. All right. Great. 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 All right. Thank you guys. So when you guys see that the visuals are looking off, let me know. Especially I'm on my phone and I'm in my assembly right now. So yes, for those that don't know, may not be aware, I am a pastor and we have an actual facility. All right. So I'm at our facility and I went on a transition over uh, to the to our network here. So that's why the quality improved because I probably wasn't getting a good signal in this part of the sanctuary, or should I say, our place of worship. So, yeah, so I'm in my office, so I probably didn't get a good signal here. So I just switched over to the network here. So, as I was stating, um, as I was stating that we had a great time this weekend with the conference, uh, and I saw some faces that I met online, and I tell you, it's really been a tremendous blessing that every time that I go out to do these engagements, how many of you guys press out to meet me, and I thank you guys for. I got to meet Cindy Carr, Sister Cindy Carr. I got to meet her over the weekend. She traveled all the way down. I'm not going to say where she traveled from, but she traveled a great distance to get down there, and I got to see her in person. I saw a few other faces, that I interacted and met through social media. Saw them down there, and it was a tremendous blessing, family. And so again, let's see. I wish you had a facility near hometown Newark. Hey, guess what? We can make it happen. We can make it happen. We can make it happen. We'll see what we have up there. See, the key is having ministers, have someone that's really had the heart of the Most High and really want to do this work. Because I don't take it for granted. This is why I don't have a number of different assemblies in different areas, because I know that this work is not easy. This work is not easy. And if it took Christ, with his disciples, took them 2.5 to 3 years to really groom them, it's going to take that type of relationship to groom ministers and elders to be able to go out, disciples to be able to go out, not just my disciples, disciples of Christ, to go out and start this type of work, because we're called as a ministry, a reconciliation ministry, reconciling differences, reconciling families, reconciling people to Christ, ultimately Christ, to the Most High through Christ. So that's our mission, that's our goal, that's our objective, is the word of reconciliation, along with the ministry of reconciliation. So the word of reconciliation and the ministry of the reconciliation, the word plus the works. This is where you get passion for reconciliation. That's how that's how the Most High blessed me to come up with the name. That's the name that the Most High gave me to give for this assembly. Passion for reconciliation. The passion of who? Our Hamashiach. Passion of Hamashiach. That same passion that he made it clear in Matthew chapter 15 when he said that he come not but for the lost of the lost sheep of the house of Israel. That same passion that when he was in that Garden of Gethsemane and he was, had moment that anxiety kicked in, and he said to the Father, uh, if there's any other way, if there's any other way, take this cup, away from me. But then he said, it's not about my will, but it's all about your will. That same type of passion that we have to have, family. So, with that being said, I just wanted to do this quick video to encourage you guys because you guys have been a tremendous blessing, with the support of the launching of Savannah Breadcrumbs, part two. You guys see the suppression. You guys see the suppression that our oppressors are doing, to try to hinder the works that we're doing. Family, if you guys only knew the amount of man hours in terms of myself, Benaiah Israel, and Boom Ministries, Dr. Brown, and my buddy down in South Carolina, Godfrey from Gullah Geechee Tours. We put a lot of man hours into this. I know ultimately, I did a bulk of the work in terms of the production, the graphics, the putting the whole script together for us so that way it can be presented in a certain way. But all that time and effort, and then to see platforms like this is making an assertive effort to put labels on our history, to label our history. When we talk about our history, they want to label it offensive. They want to label our message offensive. Offensive to who? You guys got to see that when I showed you videos about the Holocaust, what did you see? You saw that they were restricted. They had the restriction at the bottom in the description section, but you didn't see them getting these pop-up disclaimers saying that this material is offensive to some. You didn't see none of that. You only see it on our work when we're telling our history. And that's the key. When you read up on the history of First African Baptist Church, Savannah, Georgia, and you see the history of the church written by Dr. Emmanuel K. Love. When you read about what he said in his preface, he made it clear. He said, look, we have to start writing our own narrative. When the Caucasian, actually he said, when the white man, when they write about our narratives, when they write about our history, when they do the writings of history, it's going to always favor them, not our people. They're not going to talk about the educators in our community. They're not going to talk about the prominent people, the people that we hold in a high esteem among our community. They're not going to talk about those things. So he wrote the history of First African Baptist Church himself, so that way the people could see that this church was not what media were, the whole white media and the propaganda will push. Like we're a group of, like kind of like with the whole thing with the property rights, the things with the whole Spanish, the Portuguese, the Roman Catholics, and all those different groups, or what they label our community to be, a large group of people that's just waiting for them to come bring salvation to us. And group of people. No, they made it clear, right? Wanted to let everyone know that come to understand the history of that church, that it was educators there. Even though many of them were enslaved, many of them, you don't even know, had an opportunity to be free, but took their money that they were used to be free to invest in that church, invest in those artifacts we see there, the writings on the pews, all to make sure that you and I have a place, have something that we can say that this is our history, that no Caucasian person, no white person, none of those people wrote our history, but they wrote our history, and they made it clear that they are Israelites, that they are Hebrew Israelites, that they are Israel. Those writings on the pews is written for us, Israel. It's right there. Israel, this is our time. So they understood the importance of coming together, family. That was the whole purpose of having the conference this past weekend, the gathering, understanding the importance of coming together. I know some of you guys have hit me up and don't have a place of worship where you are, and I apologize because I know I've been really busy, haven't really been able to get into my emails like talking about it. But family, we're going to get it together. I'm here. There's other assemblies, but we're here. If you want to be part of Passion for Reconciliation, our website will be back up by the end of the day is up, but I'm having some technical difficulties with the host, so I'm working through that right now myself. As far as that, the DNS and all, as I understand, the DNS to point to my servers. I host it at home, but I'm working on the DNS portion of it. Been having issues all of a sudden with that, so I'm working on that so that way I can get back to what I've been doing and hosting my videos on my own media server that's on my property. So with that being said, family, be encouraged. Don't let the suppression of our oppressors hinder you, cause you to get into a depressed state. Today is the honoring Dr. Martin Luther King, the late Dr. Martin Luther King. Family, I'm not going to do like what I see some of our own brothers and sisters do, try to mock him. And, it's sad. I've seen some platforms from brothers and sisters trying to say, hey, talk about, oh, he plagiarized this person, plagiarized that person, or he was in his infidelities, sleeping around and all this other stuff. Family, I can't stand when I see stuff like that. Why? Because we are doing what the community calls us. In basketball, we had a term called self-check. Hey, you don't have to, don't worry about it. Let them shoot. He's self-check. In other words, they're going to shoot the ball. They're going to miss it. They can't play ball. There's no need of wasting your energy trying to D them up. Do you know that that's how they look at us, as being self-checked? That every time we try to do something positive, there's going to always be some within our community that's going to rise up to be negative. Even as we see here with the late Dr. Martin Luther King. Y'all better understand, this wasn't somebody that was in his 40s and 50 years old that took the challenge and went out here and laid down his life and labored the way that he labored. This man was, he was 23, 24, 25 years old. When you see many of those pictures, what were you doing at the age of 23? What were you doing at the age of 24? What were you doing at the age 25? Were you going out here putting your life on the line, getting stabbed? Were you putting your life on the line at that age? Traveling from state to state, putting your life on the line, being water hosed, having dogs sicked on you, being hit, being brute. Were you doing that at the age of 23, 24, 25 years old? But yet, we got so many of our brothers and sisters for the likes and subscribes and the building of their channel, the views. They put this foolishness out there. But while you have channels like this putting this truth in there, this is proving that YouTube don't want us to talk like this. YouTube and other social medias, Facebook, because Facebook was doing the same thing, so I transitioned over to YouTube. They don't want us to talk about this, talk about our history. They want to continue to write our history and label our history as being offensive to others. Come on, family. Label our work, our own testimony, as being offensive to others. Why? Because I'm showing photos of our ancestors being lynched, but they want to label our stuff as being offensive. You've seen it firsthand. I showed you the videos. You've seen how all of a sudden they started throttling my bandwidth and kicked me out. Come on, family. Come on, family. Come on, family. I see the question about someone asked me about what I think about the statue that was built. Quite honestly, I don't think much of it, in terms of from a negative perspective. You know what I mean? They did that in honor of him, not to worship him. They did that in honor of him, not to worship him. Let me say that again. They did it in honor of him, not to worship him. Because if you think about it, right, remember, there were certain things that was put in place, to honor the elders, Jacob and Esau, not Jacob, Esau, take Esau, excuse me for saying Esau, Jacob and what's his name? Isaac. I meant Isaac, not Esau. Take that out, family. Slippage of the tongue, but to honor Jacob, Isaac, and Abraham, our fathers, they held on to those memories. But it wasn't to idolize them, but to remember what we need to stay dear to, what we need to hold on to. So far as that statue with Martin Luther King, to me, that's not a deal breaker. To me, it's just I have no thoughts towards it because I know that the intent is not to worship Martin Luther King, but to use it as an opportunity to, as a memorial to, for the works that he has done. And I want to make it clear, I'm not here trying to, worship Martin Luther King, but I'm just merely saying that I'm not going to disrespect him and the legacy that he left behind to make our jobs easier. That's all I want to make it clear. I want to make sure that we understand. I'm not here trying to cover up or perpetuate any worship of him, but to honor him. There's a difference. We have to give honor to that's why the scripture says, honor who? Our father, our mothers, honor them. We're supposed to honor those. All right. Honor those. Now, if Martin Luther King was living and saw that they wanted to dedicate that, I'm pretty confident that Martin Luther King would have turned it down. But Martin Luther King didn't care about all those things. But the key that I want to reel us back in this thought in our conversations is here you have a 23, 24, 25-year-old young man putting in this type of work. How many do you see today at that age putting in that type of work on a global scale? I've been down to Florida, some of the homes down that they had set aside for Martin Luther King and others that was part of the civil rights movement, to have a place of stay, if they were in that area. I've been down there, outside of Orlando. I can't remember the territory that was there, took pictures and uploaded them as well. They had slave communities out there in Florida, but they had places that allowed those that were fighting for civil rights during that time, right? So with that being said, family, and let's not get caught on that. Let's not focus on whether or not that's a good representation of Martin Luther King or not. The key is what are we representing with what we do? Are we being a great representation of our people? Martin Luther King, I believe, was a great representation of our people. And when we start understanding Martin Luther King, they don't tell you that Martin Luther King did videos or did messages about give us our check, give us our money, give us what's due to us. Martin Luther King, he was calling out those things of what the government was doing in terms of giving other communities that have enslaved us, said, hey, you know what? Give us what you gave them. Do you know Martin Luther King talked about how this government gave those that have oppressed us, those that have enslaved us, even those that are coming over, immigrants as well, allowed them to have a chance to develop, gave them monies, gave them properties, allowed them to build school systems, allowed them to cultivate. But when it came to us, what happened when the slavery ended and we start transitioning into the sharecropping? When things start transitioning to there, what happened? Our people got hustled. We got hustled every which way to continue on that slavery. We got laws that was created on us. Martin Luther King, man, like I said, I look at it like this. Hey, even though he may have some things that we may not agree with in his personal life, but guess what? When it comes to the things of when they start getting to infidelity, look, he and his wife worked out whatever differences that they had. Enough said when it comes to that. Enough said. Enough said. Enough said. I know Martin Luther King would not co-sign with the way civil rights is being used today. Civil rights is being used today to actually silence us. Civil rights being used today is actually being used to silence us. Harry Belafonte literally stated in in one of his interviews, and also I think it was for they got it documented as well. But he made it clear. He said Dr. Martin Luther King. He said what he did with this whole desegregation is that he led his own people into a burning house. Martin Luther King didn't say that in any of his speeches, but Harry Belafonte, he said that because he and Martin Luther King was very good friends, and Martin Luther King had certain regrets because he saw what was happening when it came to desegregation. Look what's happening now. We don't support black businesses like we should. I don't like to use the term black, but just for the sake of this conversation, we don't support our own businesses like we should. We don't support our leaders that are trying to do the right thing like we should. We'll support everybody else. We'll support everyone else. But we fight tooth and nail against one another. Come on, perfect example. Do you see when they talk, when the Caucasians, when these people talk about George Washington, do you see them pulling up, well, George Washington, yeah, he was a great man, but let's talk about what George Washington did on the side. Do you hear them talking about that? Do you hear them putting a but after their sentence? Let's talk about Ulysses S. Grant. He was a great general, but do you hear him doing do you hear them doing that type of stuff that we do? Well, Martin Luther King, he was a good person, but he did. You don't hear them talking about their people that they hold in great esteem, high esteem. You don't hear them doing what our community is doing to our own people. Show me. Show me with them saying that about Benjamin Franklin. Oh, Benjamin Franklin was he was a great man, but you don't hear them doing any of that. It's only our community doing those type of contradictory behaviors to bring each other down. You don't hear them doing that. You don't hear them even discussing whether or not, like we just had a quick discussion, and I'm not throwing any salt or shade to anyone that pointed that out, but you don't hear them talking about the memorials that they use to honor each other. It's us. That's us. That's us. That's us. You don't see them even talking about the statue, like someone just pointed out, just put it in the chat and I just deleted the comment. Oh, did you see the whatever statue? Why are we talking about that? Do you see them talking about the views of their statue? Do you see them talking about those things? So I'm saying these things for a reason, family. Let's not allow the oppression, the suppression of our people by our oppressors to get us into a state of being depressed. See, when you depress, man, your whole behavior change, your diet change, your will to live actually change. You start your purpose start becoming convoluted in your mind. You don't know what you should be doing, what you should not be doing. You start wanting to close yourself off. You want to start isolating yourself. You don't want to your whole will, to live, your whole will to strive for things that are better becomes what? So trodden down that you don't even want to become productive anymore. You don't want to be productive anymore. You just completely shut down and turn off. You become the living dead, literally. So family, going back to my point with the whole James, the conference that we had this weekend, it was blessed. We got another one coming up. Even though we had one going this weekend, I didn't really want to do a lot of advertising of it because right now, if you're in the area and you want to come and be part of, that's fine. It starts this Friday and carrying over to the Shabbat, but I didn't really talk much about it because being that we're just, this whole pandemic is being, starting to subside, we did not want to, we wanted to at least have an opportunity to, iron out, kind of get back into the flow of doing these type of events. Because during this whole pandemic, right, we couldn't do conferences like we used to. We couldn't do evangelism, but going out to these different communities, knocking on door to door. We couldn't do those things because of the restrictions. So, and people were very, 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 conscientious when it came to those things. So we didn't want to offend anybody by knocking on their doors, right? So we're going to get back to doing these conferences. So we have a conference coming up this weekend, but the ultimate conference that we're planning for is going to be between May. I'm still solidifying the dates. I should have it solidified within the next 24 hours, but we're looking between May and June. And more than likely, it's going to be in the latter part of May. And we're going to have a conference called the James 1-in-1 Woke Now Conference. James 1-in-1 We Woke Now Conference, right? When I first did this, me, my cousin, Bishop Brown, as well as my cousin, Pastor Jerry Carr, when we came up with the idea, it was based off of James chapter 1, verse 1, because that letter is written to the scattered Israelites, not a church, but to the scattered Israelites. Israelites. The thought behind that was, let's bring the people within this awakening. Let's do something to start bringing us together because, so many people are in their own spaces, doing their own thing, operating as individuals, right? So we wanted to do something that can really unite our community, and we can start really doing the very things that pleases the Most High as a community. So we did that. We did that 6 years ago, almost 7 years ago. It was a great conference. We had Hebrew Nation. We had other communities that came out here. We had so many people that came out. People still talk about it. Those that was part of that conference. I mean, it was the chain, off the chain. And I may, as a courtesy to you, post some of the footage from what happened years ago. I mean, I can't even fully describe it, but we want to get those things back in place. We want to make sure that we get back in place, really start understanding, when I say back in place, doing those things that we know that's going to encourage you guys to let us know that we need to come together. We need to get outside our homes again. We need to get outside of ourselves again, coming together, a corporate, how can I put it, pressing. The feast days, they are holy convocations. In other words, holy makorah. I'm saying it in the ancient Hebrew, but those are a corporate cry. That's what the feast days are. They are a corporate cry, a corporate calling, the holy convocation that the Most High has created. So what we're doing is, in conjunction of those feast days, we're coming up with some additional things that we can do, kind of like that gas station, that fill up stop in between you getting from work or whatever your the place of or point A to your destination. So again, family, that's what these are for. Be on the lookout. Got that coming up, and in the latter part of May, I'll post the dates. Let you guys know. And again, I see my sister Cindy Carr. Blessings to see you. I mean, she pressed. I'm not going to say from where, but she pressed, and she pressed. She drove a longer distance than what I did. I came from Virginia to Georgia, and that in itself was a drive. But she pressed even further. So, but with that being said, I appreciate you, sister, for seeing you out there. But back to my point, family, don't allow the oppressors' actions to, they're being very aggressive to cause you to get in a state of depression. We witness, like I said, with the documentary with the breadcrumbs, the road to Savannah part 2. You guys saw the suppressing. You see how they suppressing that video to make sure it doesn't get any viewability. Make sure when you click on it, you getting these messages of this video contains very offensive material. You see those things, and that's purposely put in place to make sure that you guys don't click on it, right? They want to make sure that no one click on it, right? They want to make sure when you do it by way of your computer, you see this image on your screen that gives the impression like video was removed. It's the same visual that you would get if the video was removed, but instead it has that message. But if you're using it on your phone, trying to access it on your phone, you get these pop-ups. But you don't get that for videos that are done on the Holocaust. But what was offensive about us telling our history? It's only offensive to those that have oppressed us, that was on that side of history, that have oppressed us as a people. Their sons and daughters, that's who are offended, that may be offended, but we can't tell our own story. That's what they're telling us. So family, be encouraged. Like I said, I just wanted to do a quick video. Let's not major in the minors. Let's make sure that we're doing everything we can to uplift one another. Like I said, I've seen some, I'll just leave it at that. I've seen some crazy stuff coming through and a lot of divisive stuff internally. Let's stop, majoring in the minors. So that's all I want to say, family. That's all I'm saying here to this afternoon. I'm over here at our temple, installing some new things, some mics, setting up our video board, so that way when we get back to displaying our Shabbat, right? You'll be able to get a better quality than me using a cell phone, because we got professional cameras, but we just didn't have a professional mixing board, video mixing board to bring it together. So you'll see the next time we live from our assembly, you'll see that we're really taking what we do to the next level to make sure that we're doing things in excellence right across the board. So again, family, don't be discouraged by the aggressiveness of our oppressors. Don't get depressed about that. Like I said, there's a lot of calculated witchcraft that is going on. Witchcraft in itself is terrible. We already know that. But when we look at it from what they are doing, what we see happening on these social media platforms, as you witnessed this past weekend, it's nothing but calculated witchcraft. Let's let that be inside our thoughts, right? Let's let that be in our, not just our thoughts, but our responses. When we see people coming up with crazy stuff, trying to put their mouth on you, you use that term, calculated witchcraft, right? Because that's what we're dealing with. Calculated witchcraft, because they cannot beat us, they cannot destroy us. Only thing they can do is manipulate their system, manipulate the atmosphere, the air, to make it so that way we forfeit our benefits plan. That's it. That's all they want us to do. Hasatan know that he can't do anything against the Most High's people. He can't stop us, but he have to manipulate the situation so that way we stop ourselves. He know that he can't really put his mouth on us, right? But he knows that if he can get us, he can manipulate the air and get us to start putting our mouths on each other. Then he served his purpose. He did what he intended on doing, because he is the prince of the air. He is the prince of what? Manipulation. So come on, family, let's not fall for that stuff. So again, it was a blessing seeing some of our brothers and sisters this weekend. But guess what? We're going to take it. We're going to continue this momentum from this conference, and we're going to move it forward. Fast forward to this upcoming Passover. If you guys don't have a place of worship, we're going to post the dates on our Passover. I'm going to post our website so that way you guys can register if those that want to come, and you can put whatever special accommodations that you need or would like for you and your family. We're gonna move forward, family. We're gonna move forward. We're not going to let them take our narrative. Hey, regardless, we still got a decent amount of people watching it. So if you haven't watched the video, watch it. If you haven't shared it, share it. Share it every day. Make it a point to share it to 5 people. Just fast copy paste the link and send it to 5 people. That's how we're going to have to combat the foolishness, this witchcraft that we see happening to suppress our voices. So with that being said, family, I just thought I'd take a minute. I was just, reflecting about on what happened this weekend, and with all our people coming together. And I tell you, man, it was just a blessing. The altar call was a blessing. That all of that, what you see, I think Bishop Brown is going to post that. Even that altar call, guess what? That was not something that was planned. I had just showed up, because I had to attend to some family emergencies down in Georgia. And I showed up. When I came in, Bishop Brown had just took the floor with the altar, doing the altar call, lifting up the Most High, and then transitioned to the altar call. And guess what? I came up to help, and before you know it, he put the mic in my hand, and the Most High, just people got delivered. Family, this is what the conferences that we do. It's not all about just trying to have a show. We're not doing this to try to sell books. We're not doing any of these things. It's all about, man, when we come together, is to edify the people. Make sure the people are delivered. Make sure the people, when they come, they come with whatever weights that they may have, but they're leaving being free. They're being set free. And that's what happened. We made it a point when we do these get-togethers, these gatherings, we're going to make sure that we have these altar calls. We're going to make sure. And that didn't start with the church, family. For those that are some of these brews that are out here that's pushing this nonsense of saying that the altar call, that's all church. That's churchy. That's Christianity. Well, I encourage you guys to read Nehemiah. Read Nehemiah, and you're going to come across Nehemiah. You're going to see how Nehemiah stood in the pulpit, right? Stood up in the pulpit, and he began to read the Torah. And as he began to read the Torah, the people began to be convicted. When I say reading the Torah, he began to read the words of the Most High, and Israel began to they began to be convicted. They began to cry out because they knew that they were not in the place that they needed to be, that the Most High required for them to be in. And they cried, they pleaded for forgiveness, for redemption. And the prophet soothed them with words of encouragement. For those that may say, "Hey, why do they got those keyboards? Why do they have those keyboards? Why do they have those things? Why are they crying out hallelujah?" Man, I think you need to revisit Psalms. I think you need to revisit Psalms. I think you need to go to Oxford Dictionary and look up the word gospel, and you'll see a special entry for our people. I need to go and do those things. So family, again, there's some people that teach that, hey, we don't need to worship. That's why you see in some of these assemblies in this awakening, you don't see no worshiping happening. You don't see none of that. Come on, family. You don't see no worship. Why don't you see them worshiping? Why don't you see them just singing songs of praises to Most High? You don't have to have what they would consider a 5-tier or a level 5-star type of voice to sing. No, you don't have to have that. I'm not a great singer, but I could sing to the Most High a new song. I create a new song every day. Every time I see a new day, when I start worshiping, guess what? That's a new song. So family, again, that's why we're doing these conferences. That's actually when you start with the main conferences, the feast days. Israel's coming together to worship. Israel coming together to worship who? The Father. Israel is coming together to be restored, be filled again, refilled, so that way they can make it through the next portion of that year, the next portion from the time that they depart to the time they come together again corporately outside of the Shabbat. Right? So again, just wanted to point that out, family. I know I don't want to sound like I'm prolonging this video, but I just hope you guys grab hold of this. Again, let's stop majoring in the minors. Be on the lookout for things to come. Don't allow excuse me, don't allow these just clear my throat. Don't allow these the agendas of our oppressors to get you into a depressive state. Don't allow these people or people who have put their mouths on you, don't allow them to dictate how your day is going to be. I don't care what people think about me. I don't care about what people say about me. Why? Because it's the Most High that's going to bear witness. As Christ said, as the Father bear witness of me, I'm good. My testimony is useless if I try to bear witness of myself. It's Abba who's going to bear witness of me. So again, family, don't let anyone your peace. We're going to keep moving forward. Don't be discouraged about what you saw happening this past weekend when I launched the Road to Savannah on this platform and the suppression that you witnessed. Don't be discouraged. It comes with the territory. It just validates and confirms that we're doing the right thing. we're doing the right thing. If they were not concerned, then they wouldn't do what they're doing to try to suppress us. All right, family, got to get ready to go. Got to get ready to get back in here, get this stuff done so that way I could get up out of here. But love you, family. And we'll get back to doing our lives. Love you, family. But again, let's stop majoring in the minors, right? Because there's some greater things that the Most High want us to focus on. There's some we've been focusing on. Some of us been focusing on. Hallelujah. Absolutely, Sister Carr. Yeah. Hasatan doing everything he can, seeking whom he can or may devour. So with that being said, family, let me go ahead and get up out of here. Love you guys. Have a blessed remainder of the day. And we'll catch up when I do my next live. Until again, Shalom.